Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Irina Morrison from Unity Earth, and welcome to the day 2 of Unity Earth Symposium. What an amazing day we had yesterday, a magical co-creation, a playground of wisdom, sacredness, music, action, connection, and linking with higher collective consciousness. So many heartfelt moments from the very beginning with Indigenous prayers. Jean Houston, of course, her words are not just words, they an activation and remembrance of who we truly are. And we witnessed how deeply Dr. Marty Casey was touched by those words. We all felt the depth and the purity of that moment shared between Jean Houston and Dr. Marty. We heard from two World Unity Week sponsors, our primary sponsor, Purpose Earth, and Sacred Stories Publishing, which then weaved another special moment by Sister Jenna, whose wisdom and graceful presence never failed to create a sacred space. We had our dear brother Jason Kelly, an Australian Indigenous representative, a Mati man, reporting directly from Canberra and the Aboriginal Tent Embassy, bringing in strong native voices and ancestral warrior spirit. We heard powerful remarks by Audrey Kitagawa on peace and unity throughout history and her call for action to continue to do so with strength and compassion. And as always, with every Unity Earth event, our hearts connected deeper through music, this time by hip-hop artist from Ghana, Kwajo Spiri. Too many wonderful moments, probably too many to remember. Ben, please help me out here if I'm forgetting anything, or if you just want to share your reflections on day one.
Hello, Irina. Good morning here in Australia, and good evening and good afternoon to everyone else around the world. I thought you did a beautiful job capturing many of the nuggets. One of the things also that was just really heartwarming was Purpose Earth and the presentation of Purpose Earth, the beautiful teamwork that's alive there inside the Purpose Earth crew, the production team, the grants making body, and of course, Emmanuel and Laura themselves. Absolutely stunning. And I just loved Emmanuel's presentation on the importance of generosity first, giving first. And it'd be one thing to hear that from somebody just as a kind of a speech, but to hear it from Emmanuel, who is living it in his very being, is really very, very touching. And the Purpose Earth presentation, I think, set the scene for the rest of the day. And yeah, some of those moments, those holy highlights of everything Jean said, and we all want to go back and watch it again. And that moment with Dr. Marty was profound indeed. And as you rightly said, Brother Jason from Canberra at the Tent Embassy in the 50th anniversary, and all those Harley Davidsons that the Indigenous community had arrived on was a very powerful statement. So it was an amazing day. We covered a lot of ground, really rich sharing across the day. I thought having even Adil from Unify speaking, and of course Sister Jenna, who's so calm and beautiful, and beloved Audrey Kitagawa, who's such a high spirit. I mean, it was an extraordinary day, and I think it sets the scene in a little bit in the way that unity prepares the pathway for peace. I think yesterday's prepared us for today, Irina, and we're really excited about this because there's some historic things happening today. We're going to be launching the Evolutionary Leaders Synergy Circle for Unity and Peace. We're going to be hearing from Diane Williams, Kurt Johnson, Deborah Moldo, and John Raymer, all about synergy for unity and peace. Such a timely subject. We're also blessed to have with us Dr. Jude Caravan from the UK, who stayed up late to give us a message also on the importance of unity and peace through unity, which really, as many of us will remember, is the message of Avon Madison. And we're going to be reflecting on Avon's life as well a little bit, and message before we collectively launch, and I'm so excited about this, Peace Week 2022. So Peace Week 2022, the arc from World Unity Week in June to Peace Week in September just feels really alive. So we're going to be hearing from Jonathan Granoff and many other, Dot Maver, many other extraordinary peace builders today. We are very, very blessed. So sit back and enjoy. And if you're in the Zoom room, we're going to be participating in an ongoing conversation. For those who are here to launch the Unity and Peace Synergy Circle, we're going to start with Diane Williams and then go to Kurt and Deborah, and then followed by John Raymer and Jude Caravan. What a plethora of brilliant minds and radiant hearts we get to share, Irina. So thank you for everything you've done. Anything else you'd like to share about yesterday or what you're excited about today?
I'm excited about the Synergy Circle and of course the musical offering by Kristin Hoffmann.
Yes, absolutely. Always, always, always. Well, everybody, whether you're watching it live with us on Facebook or later on, please do engage. There's a link we're going to be sharing around, which is a simple way for you to express how you want to be more engaged, either through the Synergy Circle, which is an open one, open to everyone on the planet, or whether you want to connect specifically with Peace Week or World Unity Week, or you want to join our weekly conversations and calls. However you want to engage, we'll put a link in the chat, look for it in the next little while, and please just go and fill out that simple form, and we will be connected and stay connected. And we want to hear from you, your gifts, your projects, and your contributions as we continue to traverse this pivotal moment in our collective human history. So without further ado, it's my great honor to introduce to you the founder of the Source of Synergy Foundation, which is the holding organization for the Evolutionary Leaders, which we'll just get Diane co-hosted here. And I think, oh no, she's ready to go. Yep. So Diane, without further ado, I want to introduce Diane Williams. Welcome, Diane.
Thank you so much, Ben, and greetings, everyone. It is so great to be together for this Unity Earth Symposium. And on behalf of the Source of Synergy Foundation, I would like to offer my congratulations on the birth of the new Unity and Peace Synergy Circle of the Evolutionary Leaders. And I wish to acknowledge Ben and John and Irina, Deborah, Kurt, and all those that played a role in initiating and guiding it into being. It's always so special when a new circle manifests into existence based on a collective intention to synergistically engage as one humanity. And we know when this happens, the whole produces a much greater result than the sum of our individual efforts. And Mother Teresa once said, one humanity will lead us to unity and unity to peace. If we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other. So synergy helps us remember that we belong to each other. It is also an essential component to achieving peace and unity consciousness, as any sort of division, separation, or competition will prevent unity and the realization of inner and outer peace. And the late beloved Thich Nhat Hanh, who we sadly lost just this week, once said, working for peace in the future is to work for peace in the present moment. So I'd like to take this opportunity in the present moment to also honor all of the future members of the circle that will bring their experience, expertise, energy, generous heart, and commitment to this group so that unity and peace will prevail. Peacemakers and unifiers know that in order for unity consciousness and true and lasting peace to prevail, we have to understand the nature of oneness, to know that every single thing we experience is born from one living, sentient, loving, infinite consciousness field that predates the physical world. This field animates all of existence and contains within it every potential reality in the form of universes, vibrations, dimensions, and all other manifestations of life, including ourselves. And sadly, all too often, dualistic frameworks have conditioned us to believe that we exist as separate entities. It is this conditioning that hides the biggest truth of our whole existence, which is that we ourselves are part of one energy field that makes up everything in the cosmos. So luckily, we have many reasons to be hopeful that peace and unity can be achieved in our lifetime. And I'd like to briefly share some good news on this front. First of all, new frontiers in science are experiencing powerful awakenings in many different fields, including major breakthroughs in quantum physics, like the principle of non-locality discovered by John Bell in 1964, which confirmed how particles are fundamentally interconnected and transcend all separation in space and time. We have also seen breakthroughs in epigenetics, brain physiology, ethnobotany, which focuses on the relationship between humans and plants, and many other fields. And all this points in the direction towards the existence of a realm beyond the objectable material world, a realm that is permeated by vast networks of energetic living systems, all interconnected in the cosmic web that manifests out of a unified field. And in this web lies the potential for unity consciousness and inner and world peace. Another major evolution that's taking place is one that weaves science and spirituality, matter and spirit together into unity, like Ben's organization, World Weavers, does. It's truly beautiful to see so many of the world's wisdom traditions and religious disciplines consciously converging, collaborating, and celebrating as one humanity. And we're also witnessing a fundamental shift in the current guiding worldview of humanity towards a holistic worldview that Jude always speaks about, that recognizes the unity of reality, the unity of ideas, the unity of life in all its forms, and the unity of our true essence with the mysteries of the cosmos, all leading us towards a deep collective realization of the oneness of existence. And this realization is exponentially permeating out into the field and forming new realities. So we can rest in knowing that these new realities are indeed unfolding, and we can and will make unity and peace a reality by embracing each other as beloved parts of the whole. And this synthesis will bring us into the new. And I'd like to close with the words of another beloved luminary that we recently lost, Archbishop Desmond Tutu. He said once, "Do your little bit of good where you are. It is those little bits of good put together that overwhelm the world." So let's overwhelm the world with our little bits of good, which can be seen in our smile, our radiating presence, our loving words, our sincere actions, our positive and affirming thoughts, our kindness, our inner serenity, and our commitment to the greater good that make up the tapestry and light of unity and peace that will illuminate our existence. And I know that this new synergy circle will greatly add to this illumination by doing many, many big bits of good. So thank you very much for adding so much hope and goodness into our world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Diane. Beautiful, beautiful presentation. And very, very hopeful comments about the intersection between science and unity. And we're going to be hearing a little bit more about that very subject from Dr. Jude Caravan a little bit later on today. But it is a really exciting time to launch this Unity and Peace Synergy Circle. And it's a co-creation of the Evolutionary Leaders, Unity Earth, Sign Network, and many other, We the World, and many other organizations coming together to do this. So it feels like a beautiful new creation built upon so much of the wisdom and what had already been created. So thank you, Diane, for being with us. Blessings to you, and all the best for the home front as well. And looking forward to having more connections as we go forward with this Unity and Peace Synergy Circle, which is open to everybody, and we'll be sharing more about it as we go through. Okay, next I'm going to introduce a fellow founder or director of the Evolutionary Leaders, I should say, which is, of course, Reverend Deborah Muldo. And you two great friends have been causing what John Lewis would call good trouble for a long time now. And we've all been benefiting and blessed by that. So welcome, Deborah, to you on this auspicious occasion of the launch of the Unity and Peace Synergy Circle.
Well, thank you so much, Ben, and thank you, Diane, for your beautiful words. I would actually like to invite Dr. Kurt Johnson to speak before me, if that's doable here.
We're just trying to get his slides, so yep, if you can just go for a moment, then we'll come.
In the theater, we call that vamp till ready. Okay, sure. Well, this new Synergy Circle, first of all, is very important to me personally, because as many of you know, I represented the prayer, May Peace Prevail on Earth at the United Nations for 20-something years. And at the United Nations, I learned a term that I really took to heart, and that was a culture of peace. That is what we're trying to build together. It's not just about peace as opposed to war, but it's a culture of peace that we need on this planet, where we love and respect one another across all kinds of divides and care for the earth that nurtures us and all life. So I feel like this Synergy Circle is so important at this moment. And as director of the Evolutionary Leaders Circle, we spent, like so many of you during the pandemic, we spent time within. We called it a year of inreach. And this year, we're looking outward. We have many wonderful new evolutionary leaders who just came in this year, and I warmly welcome every single one of them with their beautiful gifts that they bring. And we are also expanding these synergy circles, which are action areas where people with common interests can come together to make a difference, because we have such a wide variety of interest areas among our evolutionary leaders. And we know that there are thousands and thousands of evolutionary leaders out there, people like everyone who is listening to this program, who are leading the evolution by being on that leading edge of the new paradigm, who are not only dissatisfied with the way the world has been, but really have vision for how it could be and how we could live together, sharing and caring about one another. So it is time for this Synergy Circle. And we love that the people who are originating the circle are Ben Bowler and John Raymer and Rick Ulfik, as well as Kurt Johnson and me, because Unity Earth has been doing such an extraordinary job of bringing us all together, whatever our particular interests or superpowers are. Everyone has been invited to be part of Unity Earth. That is the spirit of unity and empowering one another. And of course, the Sign Network has been amplifying everyone's efforts. And that's what needs to happen next. And that's what the Synergy Circle is about. It's about how do we take our dreams of unity and peace and bring them more powerfully into manifestation out there in the world, where those concepts are not showing up strongly at the moment. Right now, our hearts go out to the people of Ukraine who are just waiting to see whether they're going to be invaded today, tomorrow, the next day. We can't live like this anymore. It's done. We know that war doesn't work. It doesn't solve problems. It just creates more problems as well as suffering and destruction. So it is time. It is time for all of us together to birth a culture of peace through the manifestation of our unity. So thank you so much, Ben Bowler, John Raymer, Rick Ulfik, who's recovering now, and we bless his heart as it strengthens once again. And thank you for originating this Synergy Circle. And to Dr. Kurt Johnson, who is our Synergy Master. he received the Source of Synergy Foundation Synergy Superstar Award this year because he is such a genius at bringing people together. So thank you very much. And let's hear from Dr. Kurt Johnson.
Okay, I think I'm unmuted now. Thank you so much. So yeah, we are so pleased to be here to launch the Unity and Peace Synergy Circle. And as Diane and Deborah said so well, you know, we're at this period of history where it's so obvious that it's people and civil society from the bottom up that are going to have to really make the difference in this revolution to a new paradigm. And so our goal is to bring all of the assets and all of the powerful positioning of the Evolutionary Leaders community to join in with others in thematic and activist circles to work in these multiple directions. So I just want to start out by just sharing one of our mottos because it really explains how we got here and how it works. And the motto is really simple, and that is that it's the serendipities that bring the synchronicities. In other words, how we all met and how we're all here right now. And those synchronicities in these discussions create the synergies. And the synergies in those energies then create the opportunities. And our job in transformation is to land on those opportunities as skillfully as possible to build out activities and messages that can really motivate this paradigm shift. So as you all know, every time we go through a paradigm shift, whether it's looked at by any of the great developmental scholars in the world, is that when a new paradigm becomes in awareness, there's then a period of experimentation where we have to figure out what are the new structures and the new ways of working together that reflect the values and the vision of that paradigm, so that we are in that experimental period now. So actually the role of synergy circles and creative people like yourself is to create those new experiments of what these pockets of transformation can look like. Some will work, some won't work, some will be in between, but that's the process. So kind of think of yourself as revolutionaries at the time of the discussions in the cafes in France and the French Revolution, or the discussion in the farmhouses in the United States before the writing of the Declaration of Independence and our Constitution, which made these dramatic declarations about the value of the individual and how a collective should treat each other. So we're at one of those times in history. And the goal of which, of course, is to do what Buckminster Fuller said, is to create the new model that makes the old model obsolete. So that's what it's about. So picture's worth 1,000 words. So I'm quickly going to go through just a few things to illustrate this. So our synergy circle so far in the last year and a half, 2 years, has involved about 360 participants. About half of those are ELs and about half of them are not members of the ELs. There's no difference. We're all in there working together. And we've done already over 20 combined collective events, publications, online programs, and initiatives. And that's why this new Synergy Circle is so exciting. So next slide. So this shows some of the publications that the Synergy Circles have done. The Education Synergy Circle, which published this amazing volume that Rick Ulfik curated on universal principles and action steps, which is pretty much all the statements that have made by leaders and organizations around the world on universal principles and action steps. And in the center is the Conscious Business magazine that's been done by the Conscious Business Circle. And on the right, the publication on sacred sites and spirituality and nature. You'll see Mindahi Bastida on the cover, which the Sacred Sites Circle did. So next slide. Right, so this shows how we've showcased major movements and major people. So on the left, of course, was honoring the Evolutionary Leaders book that was full of 43 thought leaders, the book Our Moment of Choice. And in the center now, actually the 4th issue of our work with the United Nations on the International Day of Yoga with EL Denise Scotta, who's the chair of that committee, that reviews all of the yoga events of the year. And on the right, the Changemaker issue that we did that was just chock full of change makers from within and without the ELs, and of course with Deepak Chopra on the cover. So next slide. So this is some of the events and programs that we've done as Synergy Circles. These are particularly the ones from World Unity Week and from the Global Oneness Summit. And these are actually the programs that were done by the Bridging the Consciousness Divide Circle. That's the Reunited States program, the Conscious Business Circle, the Sustainable Development Goals Circle, the Science and Spirituality Circle, and the Sacred Sites Circle. That's just 6 of about 20. And I think there might be one more slide, but if not, doesn't matter. That's the end. No, there they are. So we also even have within the circles websites and newsletters. So it's a completely open door to how big the activities of Circle want to be done. Upper left is the website of the SDG Circle. Upper right is the website in progress of the Conscious Business Synergy Circle. And below that, just the banner from the newsletter that circulated among the 100 or more members of the Conscious Business Circle. So in closing my part and to hand back to Deborah for a final word, welcome to the Synergy Circle family. And it's really so much in our hands and your hands to build out things that can really be impactful for the future that we all see in our hearts and are imagining in our vision. So thank you, and back to Deborah.
Thank you, Kurt, for making so much of that happen. And thank you to Unity Earth for providing the platform of World Unity Week and for putting really fresh focus on the International Day of Peace and Peace Week. And I know we're going to be talking about both of those things later in the program. So anyone who's interested in learning more about the Synergy Circles of the Evolutionary Leaders can go to the link that I just put in the chat, evolutionaryleaders.net/Synergy Circles. And I really look forward to seeing the magic that this new Synergy Circle is going to make for unity and peace. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Deborah. And Kurt, what an incredible body of work is being created here. Absolutely inspiring. Just to see it laid out there, the magazines, the different work, the multiple Synergy Circles that you've helped generate and continue to generate. And then the media and the programs, it's stunning. So it's super exciting to be with you and John and Rick and many others and Diane launching this brand new Synergy Circle for Unity and Peace. So what is our Synergy Circle going to do? One of the things we're really looking at this Synergy Circle is a very broad membership. It's an open circle, so anybody can join. And we're looking for peacemakers or anyone who's interested in intercultural healing and unity, social justice, environmental, the whole broad panorama of what unity and peace means for us right now. As a community with which can then self-organize, excuse me, with you, World Unity Week, the 11 days of global unity, Peace Day, Peace Week, Peace Month, the Sign Network and Unity Earth, and so much more. It's really a place to come in and to connect and throw our collective arms around the world of peacemakers, peace builders all over the earth. So we're very, very excited. We're grateful to you and Diane and the Evolutionary Leaders for the tireless work you've all done. So thank you so much. We're excited to follow up. The Synergy Circle is going to meet once a month. We're going to be connected to each other through multiple communication platforms, obviously messaging, but also the Weaver platform. And we're going to have monthly calls in multiple time zones to make sure we embrace our beautiful round planet and let it be launched, the Unity and Peace Synergy Circle of the Evolutionary Leaders. And what a great way to celebrate the launch than to hear from our next guest, which our next presenter, who is an amazing, profound, committed example of synergy in action, of unity in action, and of peace in becoming. And that is, of course, the founder of the Sign Network, the one and only John Raymer. And we are very excited, John, to hear your sage reflections. And Brother John's got his slides set up there. But just a shout out to you, John, as you begin. Very often you are in the trenches, making it all happen. And we're so delighted to have this opportunity to hear from you as a visionary, as a way seer, and as a way shower. So brother John Raymer, over to you. And thank you again to Kurt, Deborah, and Diane.
Yeah. No, thanks to you, Ben, and to everybody here. Like I've been saying, like we all been feeling, we're in a place we've never been before. And how do we get out of the spot and how do we move forward together like we never have before? Things won't be different unless we do things differently. And for me, after World Unity Week this year, I realized, God, we put so much time and energy into these experiences. How do we make meaning? How do we harvest? How do we really turn what we have into what we need? So I've put together a presentation on something a lot of us have been working on together. And it's this idea of a mass collaboration between now and 2030. So many things seem to line up in this decade of disruption and SDGs and things like that together. So I'm going to walk you through a little story about actually these tales that we can begin to tell of synergy from the Magic Canoe. And some of you know we just completed the beloved community MLK Convergence. And there, one of the many quotes we heard from Dr. King was about those who love peace must learn to organize as effectively as those who love war. Oh my God, I thought, wow. We don't have the benefit of command and control. So if we're going to really learn to organize, we're going to have to go deep. We're going to have to really think differently and think about how we're thinking about these things, about who am I in all of this? Who are we in all of this? And how are we going to think our way and act our way out of this? So I'm summarizing a lot of people's thinking here, and that the root cause of our out of balance condition is disunity. That for those of us in the Western world, we're born into a narrative, a discourse that's a win-lose game that puts each of us into silos. Even right now here, each of us is our own interpretation of the possibilities that we are. And each of us was working on our thing. And that balance of our thing, my thing, your thing, how we synergize all this is the challenge. Patricia Ann Davis said to me that win-lose, John, is lose-lose. We need to start operating in a win-win-win way of playing together. And that's the idea of this game that we're calling Tales of Synergy from the Magic Canoe. And I think that together we found a way to make synergy emerge, or to have synergy emerge, and to evolve. So whenever we're designing these kind of things, we need just enough structure, as much as necessary, but as little as possible. We don't need to have all the answers yet, but we need a way forward. And what's driven us and what has created so much success for us is when we make these agreements based on trust. Right now, we're out on over 100 signed members' pages because you guys have been willing to place trust in Summer and myself to say, okay, you can be an admin of our page. There we have power. We have power with assets, but the agreement making, this next level, is where I see us moving, because synergy is a social practice that generates a new horizon of possibilities and expands our capacity for action. It's not just a way to get things done, it's a way to invent what can be done. So the idea of this game is to transform us as individuals into a team of wayfinders, somewhere between a world no longer and a world not yet. And we can form the strategic and tactical alliances with each other so that we can, and this is where the indigenous concept of a magic canoe appears, as a vessel for traveling between worlds. So the idea here, the call to play, is these words: magic canoe, moving between worlds, lots of room. Everybody's welcome here to serve our journey home. Now, the point of the game, just like Kurt was pointing to, and Diane and Deborah, is to consciously connect now to ourselves, to each other, and to all of life. That's what we mean when we say we're going to paddle and publish together. We're going to show what our paddling together is creating, and we're going to tell those stories of what we're creating in a way that others can come along and learn from what we're doing, and we can learn from what they're doing together. It starts by connecting with love and compassion. So sometimes when I find out about your project and get to understand what you're doing, I may see a great way that I could tactically cooperate and add value to what you're doing and be supportive. Or you know what, sometimes your thing and my thing together can make something. We can collaborate. Or maybe even out of nothing, magic appears and something new gets born that we co-create. All of these, for me, constitute synergy. Now, what are we synergizing in this canoe is our attention. Look what we saw with those transformances, how we can use Zoom to be a creative space to co-regulate and self-regulate. That's synergizing our attention, that coherence, that coming into tune with each other. With a synergized attention, and then we can synergize our intentions. So we've got our head and our hearts. This is what our values and actions are calling for. All these projects. Look what Kurt just showed us, what he's doing. Look at all those beautiful publications. How do we synergize with them and start to own them as our own collectively together? Those are the capabilities that we can synergize. Our attention, intention, and capabilities are at the heart of what we're calling this Tales of Synergy from the Magic Canoe. Now, what's the dream? What's the vision? Well, imagine that all our individual streams converge into a mighty river that's becoming part of an overflowing movement, synergizing with other movements into an interconnected global ocean lifting all vessels, navigating to a united world, caring for all life and future generations. This is our hollow movement that Emmanuel talks about. The challenge of language is it conceals and reveals. Let's be open to a new way of playing together like we haven't before. So this is the journey of the Magic Canoe. We've laid it out in 5 steps. This is what we're proposing that you do with us, then not what we do together. So this first step, like Ben mentioned, have a presence on Weaver. Weaver is not a replacement for Facebook. It's just a smart directory. It's a way that you can describe and discover each other. That's what a directory really does. So you put in your profile, you put in your interests, and have a presence on the playing field. Then add your project, add the thing that you're committed to. That initiative that you're declaring is possible and you're committed to with other collaborators to make happen. And if you don't have a project of your own, join one that's there. That's the whole idea of this second step, to add and join the projects that are there. Now, paddling is propelling ourselves forward and steering. What's guiding us is a set of guiding principles that Brother Phil Lane shared with me that have been articulated over the last 50 years. So the idea of these 6 synergy teams are inspired by the simple phrase on the left here. And each of these movements forward create a synergy team, these 6 teams. So starting from within, working in a circle, we got a synergy circle here. In a sacred manner, we heal and develop ourselves, our relationships, and the world. So when you break that out, starting from within, that's the personal and spiritual team. Working in a circle, that's our currencies and economies. In a sacred manner, that's how we resource allocate in a fair and just way. That's how we govern, and the politics about decision making. We heal and develop ourselves and our relationships. That's our social and cultural and personal and spiritual and the world. That's the ecological and environmental. And if you say, hey, my project is all of those, and that's the 6th synergy team, which we call holistic. And we put holistic there, both spellings. So your project connects up to one or more of these synergy teams. And then the idea is that we converge on a seasonal basis. We just finished the MLK Beloved Community Convergence. There's going to be another convergence at the end of February. We have World Unity Week. And at those convergences, not only do we have the synergy teams convene so people can come and find out about what is this, these tales of synergy from the Magic Canoe, but we tell the stories, and we've done that now. So in the Global Fire Ceremony Room, we met and we told, during enlightening our way together, the story of Peace Month 2021. 40 years in the making. And the idea is that these stories become what we are publishing, a story bank of examples of how ideas are translated into on-the-ground work that inform and inspire action. That's what we're up to showing. And to give you one example, we're learning what each one of these stories will look like. So it started on a Trello board where we together identified these storytellers, many of which are in this session right here with us now. We identified the challenges, the choices, the outcomes, put that together, and then incredibly so, and Kara has done all of the drawings you see here by Kara Stonehouse, a new evolutionary leader. She does a graphic harvest of that story during the Global Fire Ceremony Room in that convergence that's taking place. And then she did a reflection on that. And now we're going to have the other storytellers do a reflection on that. So what we're really creating is a new kind of media, a new kind of resource that people are able to take away and use to guide their own way forward, with the pitfalls to avoid and the opportunities not to miss. So today is a big day for all of us as we launch this Unity and Peace Synergy Circle. Joining that circle doesn't mean you have to play the Tales of Synergy from the Magic Canoe, but we'd love you to. It's a doorway into that, a doorway into coming to terms with the challenges we're facing and being committed to overcoming and taking on what's next. So this is your call to play. This is your hopefully inspiring way to say, all right, it's time. None of us can sit still right now. We're moving in ways and headed to places that we don't really understand. But I know that with love and compassion, we can find our way together. I am so grateful to this community, what it means to me personally, what it means for Summer and I, what it means to have you in my life. This is the best I've got so far as to what I think could be a way to play that'll change the limits of what's possible for us. But it's going to take a willingness on my part to continue to evolve and grow and be open, and your part to step forward. Let us know about your greatness. Let us find that ways. They say real leadership is enabling others to achieve purpose in the face of uncertainty. At this time, with this uncertainty, let's not live isolated. Let's come together to turn what we have into what we need. And all I could say is game on.
All right, Brother John Raymer, game on indeed. Absolutely. What a beautiful presentation. Let's put our virtual hands together for John. That was absolutely beautiful journey, John, through the tales of synergy from the Magic Canoe and all the incredible thinking and experimenting and taking action and learning by doing that has happened to bring you to this point and bring us to this point. So absolutely brilliant presentation. Thank you, brother. Well done. And this Synergy Circle will definitely be a doorway into the Tales of Synergy from the Magic Canoe. And it's going to be a way that we can all get better together and that we can all learn more together for this collective impact, which is what we're called to do. And we're figuring out the how. And the answer to how, as you've been teaching us, John, the answer to how is yes. So we're looking for that from everyone to come on board. Just fill out the form, join the Synergy Circle. We'll be in touch. We'll convene these monthly meetings. We'll do them in time zones. Maybe we'll do one in each sort of Eastern Hemisphere, Western Hemisphere, so everyone's included. The answer to how is yes. And thank you, John, for your yes. Your ongoing yes.
Thank you, brother. Just a few things. Thank you again to Kara Stonehouse for her incredible creativity and gifts that she's shown there. And to Becky Suzik for pioneering this way. I mean, we have everything we need. We just don't know how to play together. It's so obvious. And I know that from music. It's like we're all sitting in this big circle with our instruments in our hands, and there's that awkward tension. Okay, who's gonna play what, and how is my voice gonna fit? Let's go through that together. Let's be willing to find our way together. I could cry because I just love you so and feel so fortunate to have this chance. Maybe we are the ones we've been waiting for. Maybe that's really true. Why not operate as if that's the case, that every moment matters? I love you, brother. I love you, Ben, so much for Unity Earth and for all the support for Sign that we're proving we are better together. We really are. It's like hope that we have to end the denial of our oneness. That's what Patricia says. We have to stop denying our oneness, end the denial. So, all my heart, thanks everybody for all your love and support. I'll meet you on the field.
Thank you, Brother John. Great call. A great call to an invitation. The power of the invitation has been expressed, and we're in this magic canoe together. So one of the things in terms of we are the ones we've been waiting for, one of the things that's so overwhelming, Becky and Kara and John here, is just the number of people on the planet right now who have obviously been called, deeply called to this work. And we're finding each other. We're finding each other through all these organic ways, through the Evolutionary Leaders, through the Sign Network, through Unity Earth, through We the World, through Unify, et cetera, the Hague Center for Global Governance. It's amazing, this arising of this organic, interconnected network and framework. And I was so blown away when I first met our next speaker. I was fortunate enough to meet her at an Evolutionary Leaders gathering in 2017, I believe, and the work that she'd done connecting science and spirituality, but particularly with a focus on unity and universal unity, and so well published, and not only doing it at a theoretical level, but actually taking practical action on the ground and building the unity community. Someone who is a primary real convener of World Unity Week along with all of us, and someone who continues with Evolutionary Vision to lead the way, and also has a very important book coming out soon, The Story of Gaia. So I am delighted to introduce to you Dr. Jude Caravan. Jude, thank you so much for staying up and being with us, and welcome to the Unity Earth Symposium.
Thank you, Ben, and thank you, Diane and Deborah and everyone who's spoken. John, you just made me cry. I'm so in awe of everything that you and everyone are doing as we link up and lift up together on this wonderful journey that we're all on together. And I'd like to perhaps add a sense of why I feel this time is so vital and what I feel we have now to support us as we paddle our canoe homeward. And I start actually not with unity, but with a worldview that we've had until now, essentially. Not an ancient worldview, but a recent worldview. And it's a worldview of separation. And its worldview of separation has literally taken us into a world of suffering. And it's described a world that is bereft of meaning and devoid of purpose. It describes a world where everything is separate and where somehow mind and consciousness arise from material brains, that somehow evolution happens through random processes. And that paradigm is preposterous. And I use that word because the Latin root of preposterous means back to front. And it completely is back to front. Until recently, though, whilst faith traditions, whilst interspirituality, whilst indigenous traditions, whilst wisdom teachings universally have been way showers for us to remember our innate unity, the secular science of separation has prevailed. But now, scientific breakthroughs are rediscovering a whole world of unity and unified reality, a whole world that arises from deeper levels of cosmic causation and intelligence and purpose and meaning, a whole world where we don't have mind and consciousness, but we are all the world, mind and consciousness. A world that doesn't just exist and evolve in unity, but actually embodies a profound evolutionary impulse to evolve from simplicity to complexity and ever greater self-awareness an individuated awareness. And that's where we've come to. But in that journey to individuation, we separated ourselves from the deeper roots of our unity. And now that individuation has brought us to the edge of catastrophe. But just at the 11th hour and 59th minute, we're literally waking up to remember that we're inseparable. And there is a new science that's emerging through scientific discoveries at all scales of existence and numerous fields of research that are supporting us, an emergent unifying framework that actually supports us in all that we recognize and remember and reheart ourselves in the unity of the reality of our world. And what it's showing us is, instead of unity being uniformity, it's a unity that expresses itself through radical diversity and celebrates that diversity and welcomes that diversity and welcomes all of that diverse genius in coming together to co-create, whether it's a planet or a plant or an ecosystem or a group of people or a human community. That unity and diversity, that unity is our power, but its diversity is our strength. And this new emergent cosmology of evolutionary consciousness is a science of love. It shows us, it reminds and rehearts us of our interbeing, that not only do we interconnect and are interdependent, but we profoundly belong. We belong to ourselves, we belong to each other, we belong to our planetary home Gaia, and we belong to our entire universe. And it's a universe that is inviting us to consciously evolve, to wake up from this illusion of separation, to remember our unity. And as I think Diane said, it's Kurt who said, this is a science of love and a cosmology of evolutionary consciousness, which naturalizes our superpowers of intuition, that naturalizes our connectivity beyond space and time, that naturalizes a world that is multidimensional, where we can learn from and communicate with other realms of wisdom and guidance and support. And in naturalizing all of this, it naturalizes serendipities. It naturalizes and calls us to pay attention to synchronicities that arise from them. And in doing so, it actually nurtures us and empowers us to bring those synchronicities into coherence and synergistic action. It invites us into that magic canoe where all we need to do is sit upright, not lean forward, not lean back, just row together. And I'd like to just mention a beautiful, why this is so important now. And I refer to that great narrator of human experience who would love what's happening now, which is Joseph Campbell. And what Joe said is, to paraphrase him, he said, the only narrative that's going to be worth thinking about in the immediate future is one that's talking about the planet and all beings on it. This new narrative will need to be grounded in widespread unitive consciousness, the higher vibrations that connect us all in that coherence of love, which includes a felt sense, beyond a thought sense, a felt sense of unity with all life, not just biological life, but the mountains and the rivers and the air of our beloved planetary home Gaia and the entire universe. Unity with the ineffable source of all being, and unity with the evolutionary flow. In our magic canoe, We are on the bow wave of the evolutionary impulse of our universe. We can remember and reheart ourselves that we are inseparable. We can come together, as my beloved friends have already so inspirationally invited us to be co-creative evolution partners with our beloved planetary home and the entire universe. That is our opportunity. That is our meaning. And that is our purpose. And if a worldview of separation and its world of suffering, in which conflict and war are natural outcomes, the most natural outcome of a world of unity is peace. It is trust. It is abundance. It is joy. It is love. It is harmony. It is community. And it is that all within radical diversity, where we can come together with common cause. And as John said, we can learn to play together, where we can agree to disagree, honoring and respecting those differences. That is our opportunity. This is our moment. This is our moment of choice. It was no accident. I don't believe in accidents. It was no accident that our Evolutionary Leaders book, for which 43 of us contributed, was called Our Moment of Choice, which our beloved friend Greg Braden brought forward, because here and now, this is truly our fundamental choice. To wake up, to remember we're inseparable, and to come together in unity, in service of peace.
Oh, dear Jude, thank you. Thank you so much for that beautiful wisdom and inspiration and visionary insight. The most natural outcome of a world of unity is peace. It feels like that's very much the theme for this moment. And perhaps, Jude, just I know it's late where you are in the UK, but as we get ready to take a beautiful deep dive into the music of Kristin Hoffmann, who's going to really embody and the essence of everything that we're holding as we move from the launch of the Unity and Peace Synergy Circle, and soon we're going to start talking about the launch of Peace Week 2022, based and built upon the inspirational vision of Avon Madison and her last message to us as a community. Perhaps, Jude, you just lead us in a minute of of silence and breath. Let's take a moment together before we enjoy and go on a journey with the amazing Kristin Hoffmann.
Thank you, Ben, and everyone. I'll be delighted to. Well, to invite us into a minute's silent breath, to also perhaps invite us to appreciate that our universe didn't begin in a big bang. It wasn't big and it wasn't a bang. It was the first moment of an amazingly beautiful, fine-tuned, exquisitely ordered, and ongoing big breath. So as I invite us to enter into a minute's silence, to really, as you breathe, feel that you are breathing the universe, and the universe is breathing you. That you are breathing its unity, expressed in its beauteous diversity. And it is breathing you as a co-creator, as an evolutionary part of its and our conscious. In the universal heart, to feel its infinite love and divine grace that nurtures us.
What a gift it is to weave with Jude each and every time. Such an honor.
Bless you,
And
my
this,
beloved.
this piece is going to be spontaneous, a solo journey, light weaving with sound, and all of our collective intentions together, coming together in this moment of choice, in this circle. So let's see what wants to unfold. Send your visions forth. Hey, you, step into the circle. Step into the circle. I'm calling you. Come step into the circle. I'm calling you. Circle of peace. It's a circle of unity. It's a circle of love expanding. It's a circle of light, and it's a circle of possibility. It's a circle of openness and truth. It's a circle of you and 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 you. In these tales of synergy, we all rise up. We all rise up. In these tales of synergy, we all rise up. We all rise up, and in our hearts we know we're free. In our hearts we know we're free. In these tales of synergy. Circle
Circle of love and unity. Synergize, 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 synergize. We were always in the circle, always in the circle. Birthing our love together in the circle, always in the circle, always in the circle. Circle of love, we're always in the circle. Step into the circle of life. You're always a part of the circle family. You're always a part of the circle of family. You're always a part of the circle of family. Yes, you're always a part of the circle of family. Always a part of the circle of family. Hey, you, just step into the circle.
Wow. Wow, Kristin. It's always so hard to follow when you do that. That is just so beautiful. Wow. I'm getting a repeat. Sorry. I'm getting a repeat. It's always so hard. Well, I'm looping.
There's many of you, Ben.
I thought I'd do some looping.
We always have strange technological things when we're together, so I'm not surprised.
Yes, that was amazing, Kristin. Thank you. And I know people here in the Zoom room and out on live on the Facebook were just marveling at your voice and at your spirit and your work and your creativity to be able to do that spontaneously. Thank you for blessing us with that song, the spirit of the circle of unity and peace. And circle of family, and just for the experience that you provide. So deep blessings, sister.
It's always such an honor to share music in the capacity of peace and unity. What a blessing. And Jude gave me a little fun inspiration there with with a little spontaneous idea to start. So
magnificent. Thank you, Kristin. You couldn't be a better way to launch this Unity and Peace Synergy Circle than to have you celebrate with your music and your gift for all of us. Just deep bows and gratitude and love to you, sister. Thank you.
Love you all. Big hugs to all.
Thank
so
you.
Much
wonderful to see Benji there in the background as part of this.
Oh, little Benja loves to be, he's in the circle too.
Yeah.
Always in the circle.
Thank you, sister. Bless you.
Love you.
Friends, we are moving on now after that exquisite experience of Kristin into from the launch of the Unity and Peace Synergy Circle. And thank you to everybody who's expressed such great interest in that. The links are in the chat, both on Facebook and here in the Zoom room, of how to register your interest in the Unity and Peace Synergy Circle, Purpose Earth, a number of other things that we're sharing throughout the symposium. And then through the Synergy Circle, you get connected to the Tales of Synergy, the Magic Canoe that John so brilliantly presented as well. So there's all these interconnected circles of circles. But something that's really deeply poignant at this moment is the launch of Peace Week 2022. And I just want to acknowledge just how central Avon Madison, who passed a couple of months ago, has been to what we are coming together to do together in 2022, which is to unite the peace movement and all the various peace initiatives which revolve around the International Day of Peace, which is September 21 every year. And the history of the International Day of Peace, going back to the resolution in 1981, the first commemoration of the International Day of Peace, for which Pathways to Peace, an organization that was co-founded by Avon and so many others who are with us still today. The first commemoration was 40 years ago in 1982. So we're getting ready for the 40th commemoration of the International Day of Peace. And even back in those early celebrations of the International Day of Peace, in the early 80s, was Peace Day, Peace Weekend, Peace Month, and Peace Week, were all ideas that were used by Avon and Pathways to really build broader alliances. Again, scaffolding, creating scaffolding around which we can come together and show up together in concrete, visible ways. So when we, many of you know, when we had done the Caravan of Unity across America to conclude the Road to 2020, our global series of events in sacred sites around the world, which finished with the Caravan of Unity across America and concluded in Peace Weekend, when the International Day of Peace was a Monday in 2020. And now as we get ready for 2022, when the International Day of Peace is a Wednesday, I have to give a shout out to our brother Chris Decker, who really floated the idea that Peace Week would make a lot of sense when the International Day of Peace is a Wednesday. And we know that many organizations pick that day, like Jeremy Gilley and his extraordinary show of Peace One Day, live streaming with many global celebrities, is always going to be on the 21st of September, regardless of what day of the week. We know that be visionaries like Stephen Dine and others will choose the weekend to do their visionary summits. We know that the One Planet Peace Forum, which is a newly born vision of Bob Atkinson, we're going to be hearing from a little bit later, will often choose a weekend. And the 11 Days of Global Unity, which run from the 11th to the 21st of September. There are literally thousands, tens of thousands of events, initiatives, programs, and maybe hundreds of thousands that are orientated around the International Day of Peace. And so the opportunity to really cast a broad-hearted, open-armed effort to bring many of these into cohesion and coherence through a global celebration of Peace Week was something we were deep in conversation with Avon, both Chris Decker and myself, shared the idea with Avon, and her enthusiasm was inspiring. And she was alive with this Peace Week for 2022, understanding the concept of the midweek being the International Day of Peace, and then having a weekend to weekend global celebration, which brings it all together. So we were deep into the dreaming of Peace Week, and it was Avon's last message to us as a community, which happened the week before she died, before she transitioned. And she when she gave this message, she didn't know, at least in an outward way, that she wouldn't be with us the following week. But I think part of her spirit did know. And we're going to share with you that last message from Avon Madison. So please find a quiet space to really soak in this incredible teaching of Avon Madison. And then we're going to be hearing from some legendary peacemakers and peace builders, including Tezekiah from Pathways to Peace, Jonathan Granoff from the Global Security Institute, Dot Maver from the Peace Museum and Global Silent Minute, and others, talking about what we can do. What's our vision? As Jean Houston inspired us yesterday, what's our imagination, and what can we experience when we all come together? So it is built upon this vision of Avon Madison. So please, let's appreciate and enjoy this next 7 or 8 minutes or so.
Thank you, Ben. Well, I'm not in a very talkative mood because I've just been on so many conversations with refugees, and on the other end of the spectrum. But what is so true about World Unity Week, and then arcing that forward to Peace Week, is that peace through unity is very significant. And there is this very ancient wisdom, ageless wisdom that comes forward, that peace through unity leads to prosperity, to regeneration for all life. And it forms a triangle, a very specific triangle that has spirit at the center. And so this is, again, from ageless wisdom from, eons ago in the Upanishads, etc. But in a very practical sense, having just been on numerous calls with refugees from Haiti and Afghanistan and other things like that, other places like that, is that there's something that they can know is happening that is going to be changing the course of history, that is part of that change in the course of history, so that this illusion of separation, this, from the doctrine of discovery, from this, what has been inherited from that, and just from this understanding that we are all one humanity, and that their lives matter, whether they continue to exist or not, because many of them may not be here by the next time we call, because they're in such crisis, but that we are holding them in our hearts and our awareness and bringing them forward to their legacy, which will be peace through unity, and the understanding that practical actions of peace in a collaborative, conscious, unitive way is the only way forward. And when we take people who have a very deeply spiritual understanding, but become activists in a collective way, that this is the voice of humanity. This is one of the important, wonderful things about Jim Garrison and Richard Buckley and everyone involved with Humanity Rising, is they are an example of all the full spectrum of what humanity is doing in literally every aspect of humanity, and bringing it to the fore of consciousness and concerted action. This is what Unity Earth does. It's what World Unity Week does. But there's something about the aspect of the promise of the UN Charter And next year will be the 40th anniversary of the first observation of the International Day of Peace, also known as the Universal Peace Day. And so the hopes of all of these people, including some of the children that I've been involved with mentoring, who may not be here by our next call, which just breaks my heart continuously, is that they know that we are carrying on their purpose in life. Because everyone that for the past 40, 50 years that I've mentored who've been from war zones or other places, young, especially young people, is they came in knowing their purpose. And every time I ask them, what is your purpose? They say peace. And peace is not a noun, it's a verb. Peace is an active, conscious state of concerted action that is for the benefit of all beings, and that includes all circles of life. And it's what, the indigenous ones have been telling us for so many thousands and thousands of years. But there's something about this convergence time, and I keep calling Kurt, and now it's you also, Ben, masters of convergence. But there's something about this divine timing. When something occurs in divine timing, that brings together an opportunity that is not going to be, if it is missed, it is missed for a very long time. But because humanity has free will, what is so important is that this is the time for the overarching, this is part of what Libra speaks about, and I'm not an esotericist at all, or astrologer, but is where we choose the ancient Sanskrit meaning for Libra is, I choose the way that leads between the two great lines of force, which means that consciousness brings spirit and matter together, which also means that you understand that the apparent polarity of opposites, which are real in humanity, but the overarching will to good is that third factor that brings forward the synthesis. And that's what Peace Week is going to be all about. And the presage to that is bringing forward a unified consciousness in World Unity Week with all the different convergences that will be happening during that time, but bringing it into a one-pointed focus for those 8 days. And 8 is a very significant number, by the way. But this will be very, very important, because I think that when we understand our ability to respond, our responsibility for our concerted collective action for the common good of all beings, and hold in understanding all those that are no longer here, but we hold that in our hearts, and all the ancestors, etc., but that we are doing this for future generations. We do not know what the future holds. We cannot be attached to the outcomes. I knew when I was very young that I might never see what my assignment was come to completion in this lifetime. And I had to I've constantly had to live in that reminder. But it also connects with with what Kurt and many of us do connected with the UN, is that the UN is in its 76th year, but what it contains is a template of the divine plan for the unified souls of all nations to come together in synthesis in a synergistic way that changes the course of history from a culture of war, violence, and separation to a culture of an enduring, regenerative culture of peace that benefits all being and has a full spectrum of diversity in unity.
Wow. My goodness. The rain just started falling here in Melbourne after many weeks of hot weather, like right now. Heavy rain. Just want to thank Pathways to Peace, Hezekiah, also Richard Buckley for those images, and Derek Grimm, who put that video together. It was actually the first time I've watched that video. I've heard that recording a number of times. Every time I hear it, I get more out of it. And we'll post this video and recording up on Peace Week website, which is coming soon. More of a placeholder at the moment, but it is peaceweek.org and it's coming soon. And there's such depth in everything that Avon has shared. One thing that I hold very sincerely is that an opportunity has come along that if it's missed, is missed for a very long time. And, on top of all the prophetic stuff that Avon says, she's talking about the refugee kids she's been working with that may not make it to the next call, obviously, in some sense. She mentions that a couple of times. Mindful also that June 20th in World Unity Week is UN Refugee Day. I mean, there's so much in that, and I guess overall the arc of unity to peace and peace through unity, and just gives us a very sobering reminder of how important this work is. So again, thank you to you, Avon, and to everybody who has contributed to bringing that through. I want to bring in Hezekiah Gabriel from Pathways to Peace before we hear from Jonathan Granoff, just to reflect on that piece, on the launch of Peace Week 2022, which is everybody doing it together. It's under Avon's inspiration and vision, but it's all of us coming together. There's a lot more I can say about conversations that are going on with other significant peace builders, but just to say that Peace Week is a space where we can all come together and do this together collectively. But Tez, would be wonderful to hear from you and to reflect on that video and that message one more time on this auspicious occasion of the launch of Peace Week.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Yes, as I hear it again, oh my goodness, there's so much there. And so I've never felt it was my place to speak for Avon. And so I'm just going to reflect a little bit around what I knew about Avon and what her vision was and continues to be for the International Day of Peace, and for really building that culture of peace on our planet. And so, in Unity Earth, we've talked about Avon as the godmother of peace. I've heard others describe Avon as an angel. I always perceived Avon when she was alive as a prophet. And what I know about Avon is that she lived in those higher dimensions. And she had the ability, because of where she lived, to be able to pull into herself, radiate out, and articulate the wisdom of the universe. Generations before, as well as generations to come, that she had access, immediate access in those moments. And I always giggle because some of the most incredible wisdom coming from Avon through the years that I've known her began with, well, I'm not going to say very much. and then instead, we just have this download of profound and life-changing wisdom. And so from the time that she was very young, I think everyone here knows, from the time Avon was really young, she received a message of her assignment, which was about bringing peace to our planet. And she lived that assignment every moment of her time here. And from my understanding of Avon, was that her ministry was about bringing love, and her ministry was about holding energy for peace consciousness. And so I still today hear from folks who say, well, I didn't know Avon very well, but she would call me a couple times a year just to let me know that she loved me. And I think that her organizing over the years was really based in those connections with people, and that people left every conversation with Avon feeling loved and feeling supported. I wrote down earlier, being enabled to achieve purpose, that was Avon's ministry. And through those connections, she was able to organize, co-creating always. She was the first to always say, no, it wasn't just me. There were a lot of other people. So always living through that co-creation, she was able to bring together like-minded people, like-spirited people, because for Avon, and you heard it in that message, sustainable peace calls us into our spirituality and our connection with the divine, that she was able to organize through those individual connections she made with folks, typically over the phone, in the early days, even by letter. And so through that work, when she was in the Foreign Service at the kind of final years of the Cold War, she started connecting with diplomats at the UN. And she formed a friendship that was really significant with the former Assistant Secretary General, Robert Mueller. And she would always name Robert. And I invited Barbara, I don't know if she made it, Robert's partner, to speak about that connection. Because with Robert and his connections at the UN, and Avon and her connections with peace builders locally in the San Francisco area and globally, she was able to bring together people for that first celebration of the International Day of Peace in 1984. But prior to that, she and Robert were able, along with others, to create that UN resolution establishing the International Day of Peace. And about that same time, according to Avon, she and Robert had the vision for the Culture of Peace initiative. And so that was the beginning. And you heard Avon speak to how important the International Day of Peace is, that we are holding kind of that peace consciousness, that energy for unity, for those who are not experiencing it or don't have access to it. We hold that energy, that love. In addition to that, we celebrate peace that is already occurring. And we lift up and support that we are making progress, that peace does live in many actions around the world. And lastly, we pick up our charge for the future, that it's time to assume each of our own assignments to advance peace on our planet. She was also able then to bring together many interconnected tools, because Peace Day, as she called it, because she wanted it to be elevated to the same level as Human Rights Day and other kinds of days at the United Nations. So she, instead of the International Day of Peace, what we would always put when we wrote in parens was Peace Day, that she wanted Peace Day to be every day. And so creating the peace wheel, which was an organizing tool, the vision for peace, imagine a world which lined up with the peace wheel and set forth kind of the outcomes for peace that we would see if we were progressing, the peace wave, so that every day there would be a moment of peace at noon that would bring Peace Day into our consciousness every day. And so I know for Avon that, just like all of you here, that her vision for Peace Day was all of that it is all of that, and that holding that energy for peace consciousness globally, even for a day, allows us then to have a vision that it can occur every day, and that we can't separate peace from unity, and that we will see peace when we can, as John said, totally embrace and know oneness and eliminate separation from our relationships to all that is and our planet as a whole. So in this moment, that's what comes to me to say. And I have to just end with acknowledging that there are so many amazing people here that knew Avon, that worked with Avon, that connected with Avon, that joined the work to advance peace on our planet, building that culture of peace. And that I came late to the party, but my own vision for peace from the time I was young called me into service with Pathways to Peace. And I'm forever grateful for that. And to Avon, who now is supporting this work with the whole company of heaven, which means and reinforces that 2022, it's now. Peace is now. We choose peace now, and we'll see peace now. And with that, I would turn it over to my beloved David. And I don't know if Joni has made it into the room, and to all of these other amazing folks who have joined that movement many a long time ago and supported Avon and her work. So thank you.
Thank you, Tez. And David, we'll get you unmuted. There you go. Welcome, David.
Well, a delight to be here and so eloquently expressed, Hezekiah. Thank you. And what a beautiful with your, Kristin, with your song, what you talked about in the circle. Avon lived in the circle. She drew the circle, always bringing together people, but in the circle. So we faced each other. So our hearts were together. And that was, the essence. And I really feel, I've worked with her for years and years, and just very closely. And her assignment was to raise our consciousness, to bring us to a greater awareness of who we are and what we're doing in the physical world, in the 3D world, and it's known as peace. And that's how we function. And I'm just delighted that this journey continues to acknowledge her work, but it's each of us as we embody this work, because that's the point. We bring it forward in our lives and everything we do, and that's what Avon was about. So thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, David. Thank you, Tez. Tez, was there another person you wanted to bring up here briefly? Who was that?
Our co-founder, Joni Cherdelli. I don't know if Joni is in the room or not. There's so many of us, which is beautiful.
doesn't look like it. So we'll acknowledge Joni as a co-founder, and we hope Pathways to Peace will be a co-partner in Peace Week, and I'm sure we'll follow up with all those discussions. Thank you so much, Tez, and thank you, David, and for reflecting on the beautiful life and legacy of Avon Madison. And yesterday we had a comment, I think it might have been from Bud, saying, well, all this is great. We've got all these peace builders here talking to each other, but how do we really get out into the world and connect with those people who maybe haven't been connected to this work and to this conversation? That's an ongoing challenge and an opportunity. I do know that Peace One Day by Jeremy Gilley does count the number of people observing peace, the International Day of Peace, and I think they've got it up to over 1 billion now, and their goal is to get it to 3 billion people who are aware of or in some way consciously observing the International Day of Peace. So it is an incredible gift to the world and continues to give. And so we'll be delighted to continue to build on the work of Pathways to Peace, together with Pathways to Peace and all the other peacemaking organizations to continue towards breakthrough. And our next speaker has got some things very important to bring to the table about how the peace work can connect to diplomacy and security, human security, and many of the intellectual important evolutionary conversations that are taking place. And I loved how Avon talks about how spiritual people can then go into doing practical diplomatic action, which she lived her whole life doing. So I'm very, very honored to bring into the space to hear about the reflection on Avon's message, preparations for Peace Week, and the general theme of global security, human security, from the Global Security Institute, the president of the Global Security Institute, Jonathan Granoff. Brother Jonathan, as always, it's a pleasure and a privilege to have you and Moon here with us again in the Unity Earth Symposium, talking about this subject, which is so dear to your heart and your expertise of human security and peace as we prepare for ramping up all these efforts in 2022. Welcome, Jonathan Granoff.
Thank you, Ben, and all my brothers and sisters who are, we are in the movement of Hearts Without Borders. The circle that Kristin talked about is a circle without a border. And entering into it, you experience what Avon said was peace is an innate state. It's dynamic and it's transformative, and it's part of the evolutionary process of humanity. Direct quote from her. But presently, the way peace is pursued in the world is by the pursuit of military power. Almost $2 trillion last year in military expenditures of the nations of the world. And a pittance for what really brings us peace. In the Upanishads, which she mentioned, there's a quote that says, "The world is one family." And the UN is a unique place in which that family can come together. It is a unique place in which one can say we and mean everyone, without distinction of race, gender, religion, caste, class, anything. And all too often, the UN functions purely from the point of the nation states that make it up. And it forgets that it, in its founding document, is we the peoples. The function of the state is to protect and take care of people. And I think in the evolutionary process of the UN, something wonderful is now emerging. There is a human security trust, a human security division in the UN. And the concept of human security is essentially that the efforts of states, the efforts of our lives, should be kind of based on the motto of love people and use things. Focus on people, not things we've created, things that God has created, people. And of course, I just did an Oxford Union it was supposed to be a debate, but it was no debate with Jane Goodall and myself. And Jane pointed out that we can have no human security without understanding our thread in the mysterious, wonderful, glorious, sacred web of life. We depend on that web of life. We are that web of life. It is not separate from us at all. So there's no human security without protecting biodiversity, and we're destroying species at 1,000 times the evolutionary base rate. So at this moment in history, this moment in evolution, this moment in time that Evan talked about, the threats that humanity faces, interestingly, face all of us at the same time. I was contacted by the UN. I wrote an article about the pandemic and how it would be both impractical medically and unjust and immoral to have a vaccine apartheid world, because the virus doesn't recognize borders and it will mutate if there's places that are not taken care of. When Jonas Salk was asked who owned the patent for the polio vaccine, he said, the people own the patent. You can't patent the sunlight. What a great spirit, and what a great way in which we have conquered the disease of polio because of that spirit. But pandemics are only one of the threats that face us all. 50 to 70% of our oxygen comes from the oceans. We have no regime to protect the oceans, and they're being polluted. And of course, the climate doesn't recognize borders. Even our financial system is completely integrated. We live in a world today in which the principle of seeing the human family as one, which has always been a spiritual necessity for spiritual growth, has now become also a practical necessity. The problem we face is largely a misdefinition of how security is obtained. It's based on an old Roman maxim that says, prepare for war, receive peace. Prepare for peace, receive war. It's simply wrong. It's interesting that the Strategic Command of the United States has a pamphlet in which they call for full spectrum dominance. And they even called for full spectrum diversity and unity. That's realism. We are the realists. And it's our job not only to harmonize ourselves with the power of peace within, which is the power of love, the power of compassion, the power of justice, the power of the light of our very souls. The connection with the divine is within the secret of peace. And our peace comes when we bring it into action, the head to the heart to the hand. So we have to think of how do we make the sentiment of peace into a reality manifest in the world. It's my belief that this is a time in which the very concept and principle that can bring together the siloed, virtuous programs that thousands and millions of us have, the siloed, virtuous programs of the Sustainable Development Goals, is very simply a term that the General Assembly of the United Nations has called to use, and a concept that it's called to use to bring traction to peace. And you will be hearing a lot of this from the Secretary General in the coming year. And it is called human security. I'll give a crass example of how distorted things are. There's a thing called the Nuclear Posture Review in the United States to determine the reason for and the targeting and readiness and expenditures for the nuclear weapons venture, which is presently planned at $1.7 to $1.9 trillion. And it says in the last one that its purpose is to make sure that the weapons are safe and secure. It doesn't say the purpose is to make people safe and secure. That's the problem. We're focused on making things safe and secure and not focused on making life and people safe and secure. So if there's any concept that would make sense for our Peace Week and Peace Day, in my opinion, this is the time to partner with the nations, with the United Nations, and with an initiative that is taking place with the United Nations and the World Academy of Arts and Sciences and many, many organizations focusing on human security. So it is peace for human security for peace. And what does human security means exactly what it sounds like. Security in the way people live, which is the very purpose of the state. It means health, education. It means food. It means what Avon was passionately focused on, creating a culture of peace. It means the rule of law rather than the arbitrary imposition of authority. It means the fundamental freedoms of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And even in the UN documents on human security, it talks about the inherent dignity of the person. So right now, as we speak, there are mothers who have to decide which of their children are going to have enough calories to live to the morning. There's at least a fifth of the world's population doesn't have potable water that they can rely on. There's over 65 million human beings who are stateless, wandering about, uprooted, innocent. And we still haven't developed a way of protecting the firmaments from being fully weaponized. From the smallest particles to the firmaments, peace is being pursued by weaponization. We believe peace is pursued through peace. Peace is obtained through the power of love. Peace is obtained through the application of justice. Peace is obtained by policies that Jesus said, "What you do to the least amongst us, you do to me." Peace is obtained by the analysis of Mahatma Gandhi. See the face of the most disenfranchised person and think, is this policy of benefit or burden to them? Peace is obtained by those who have gratitude for the fact that the rainforests are part of our lungs, that the oceans are part of our lungs, and that we're gifted the breath of life. So we who believe that we can have the awakened heart that we came into this world as infants with, that heart that just was pure and open and learning and responding to every mother's love. We who believe that the purpose of our birth is to bring the beauty that we know lives within us into action. We who believe that life is a miracle and that the beauty of this creation is magnificent beyond measurement. We who know that we can change, that change is possible. We who know that the arc of the way things are born through seeds, and the seed disappears, but then the plant emerges, that change has to happen. Everything has that process of letting go and changing. Even our breathing is a letting go and coming. There's a letting go and a change. This is the time to bring human security into action. That's the change from pursuing security through the threat and use of violence to pursuing security through peace. And this year, and Peace Day is a day to make that message transformative. But most important, and I'll end right here, Ben, most important is we have to be the peace that we want to see. May God, that gives us this very breath, give us the courage to accept the blessing, and as it comes with this breath, to say yes to it, and allow that secret within ourselves guide us and accept the blessing and share the blessing, for it is real. All praises are to that power. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Jonathan Granoff and Moon. Wonderful to have you both with us. And Jonathan, thank you for your sage words. As always, we're very blessed by them. There are many kinds of peace builders. There are those who build peace through a variety of means. Can be music, can be art, can be local, can be in the family. Families need peace builders and peacemakers as well. And we're very blessed to have you working on these large global issues that you do through the framework of the Global Security Institute, as well as through the Nobel Peace Laureates work that you do and many other things at the UN to bring in that aspect of peacemaking and peace building into.
But human security has to be a mainstream position that we demand of our political institutions, that they take care of people first and foremost. And it won't happen just from the top down. It will only happen if all of the big trees and all of the grass and flowers, that the entire web of life that can speaks up. We can all hear the cry of the earth. This community can hear the cry of the earth. We know Mother Earth is saying, where are the humans? Stand up, come out, stand up and protect us. And that's what human security is about.
You know, Ben, this is just too good an example. That's the story we want to write. There's an example of turning that vision into a reality that's within our reach. And we shouldn't wait to World Unity Week. Jonathan, we talked about, we got MLK's Beloved Community Convergence at the end of February, then World Unity Week, then Peace Week. So I'll have Jonathan put that project into Weaver, but only if I can tell him that, hey, these people here are going to be responsive with you. And let's use this call for human security as a way to paddle together and move together and flex those muscles of how we get behind such a compelling message and bring it to the world together.
Wow.
So it's just, you weren't here for the talk we gave before talking about our tales of synergy from the Magic Canoe, but what a magical opportunity you're offering us. And what a compelling opportunity to learn how to work together at a new level, to truly turn that dream into a reality. I'd be willing to work right here with anybody who's willing to play with what Jonathan's putting forward as a project and initiative here.
Yes.
Yes, there we go. There we go.
Yes,
and there's Dr. Elena Mustakova, who's got the way of unity here. I mean, there's so much wealth of capability here. We just haven't figured out how to put it together. A bunch of great artists and musicians who haven't found that song. There's a song. Let's write that one.
Beautiful. Thank you, John. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Moon. Inspirational. And yes, as we build up these events starting now and all the way through the year, building up to some major framework of the infrastructure and the architecture that can really bring us together. And I think that there's many opportunities for us to collectively advance as a united movement of peace builders. And thank you again, Jonathan Granoff, for being with us. And I hope you will stay as we continue to explore the potentials for Peace Week. Moving right along, our next speaker is someone who is deeply connected to Avon and is also an extraordinary peace visionary and peacemaker in her own right. She's the founding president of the National Peace Academy. We started today and yesterday with the Global Silent Minute, to which she is intimately connected and a leader in so many different ways. So without further ado, it's my honor to introduce Dot Maver to share your insights into where we are, Avon's reflection, and the road ahead for this year. Dot.
Oh, thank you, Ben. And thank you, Jonathan and John. Radical peace is human security, right? And yes, let's do the lift. As a group, we can do this. So it's a joy to be invited to share a few thoughts as together we're building and revealing the systems architecture for the culture of peace. It's a co-creative emergent design process. So continuing in the beautiful weave of this symposium, I'd like to share 4 thoughts. The first is, we all came in fully resourced, ready, willing, and able. It's like the acorn, which contains the entire systems architecture of the oak tree.
And as Jean said yesterday, we are cosmic architects. This is our moment to step up fully on this planet. We all know this, and everyone's saying it in their own words. Let's answer the call together. And for all who are watching this, whether it's a recording or you're live, watching it on social media, let's answer the call together. And consciousness, consciousness changes in a split second. So, second, synthesis is unity must be created. Synthesis is unity must be created. And we live on, wow, a planet that is the virtual definition of synthesis. All one, very interdependent, connected world. And Mother Nature offers us some great examples. In the book, Braiding Sweetgrass, we learn about asters and goldenrods, right? So they are plants that grow together. Lots of plants do this because they need each other. It's a lived reciprocity. It's a natural expression of interdependence. Dare I say, loving interdependence. So we grow together as a beloved community, and we intentionally cooperate together in unity. I mean, how much joy is that bringing us as we realize we need one another, as we differentiate from one source, each of us, offering our unique contribution to shared purpose on this planet. We support one another. We bring out the best in one another on behalf of the common good. And this shared purpose could be stated as revealing the essential essence within all life, or simply put, learning to live in right relationship with self, others, and all life. That's the very definition of peace. And peace isn't a destination. Peace is not the goal, any more than a map is the territory that it pictures. Peace is not the opposite of war. Peace is not the absence of violence. Peace is a living dynamic. It's a lived experience. It's the natural outcome of cooperation, sharing, true unity, everyone's needs getting met, human security. And that has to include all life forms, the needs of all life, including our beloved planet. During Peace Week 2022, Ben, I love hearing you talk about it. There's such passion. Let us share that passion as the peace community comes together in coherence and cooperation like never before. We will demonstrate that lived experience of unity. And third, Avon often spoke of her vision of peace through unity. Dear, dear Avon, who is so with us from the other side of the veil now, and we with her. And she would speak of the great illusion of separation. Thank you, Jude, for that magnificent sharing earlier. And Avon shared and created how we could come together and be peace. International Day of Peace, Peace Day, Peace Wave, Peace Breathing, and so much more. We are all pathways to peace. And every one of us in this room and every one of us listening, watching, and not expressions of peace in our own right. The spirit of peace is anchoring and expressing through all life and in the hearts of all humanity. So as a group of conscious world servers, we face a new cycle of service on this planet and a new day of opportunity. As we stand together in spiritual being, we are a collective demonstration model of the spirit of peace in action, of goodwill, love in action, as each of us offers our contribution on behalf of the common good, as part of an incredible symphony of peace and love and harmony. John loved making music with you. And as Ben consistently makes clear, everyone plays an instrument in this orchestra. Everyone is needed. Every act of peace counts. So get ready for Peace Week 2022. As John, I think it's John, you say this, everybody in the pool. Game on. And finally, do you recall the singing revolution in Estonia? Tens of thousands of Estonians sang the song lines of their country, song lines of peace and harmony. It was so powerful, and they were not invaded. Together, we are singing the song lines of the new era, the song lines of the spirit of peace. I find that thrilling myself. Let us sing together those song lines of the spirit of peace. As our hearts unite across distance, both sides of the veil, we sing the rhythm of light and love, and all of life responds and pulses with a deep recognition of resonance in essential harmony, essential divinity, and will experience the truth of the statement, joy is a special wisdom. I think of you, Joy Fuel Becky. So let's not miss this unique once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And Ben, when you named that, as Avon shared, as she stated, it's not going to come around again like this. All of the great cycles are turning at once, and the stars align in full support. Carpe diem. Let's seize the day. Let's play our part to manifest the spirit of peace, the culture of peace on earth. Thank you, Unity Earth, for calling out our sacred shared responsibility. And thanks to all the partners who make World Unity Week and Peace Week and so much more possible for all of us. All of our combined activities speak to the opportunity of this moment. And Peace Week 2022 will shout it out to the world. May peace prevail on earth. Thank you.
Oh, Dot, thank you. Thank you for that beautiful clarity and inspirational download and sharing. That's so beautiful and so clear. And yeah, there's that vision of imagine all the peacemakers. We know the Distributed Dance Party and our friends at Sparkleverse and all these different communities do stuff for the International Day of Peace and around them. And imagine all of them showing up together with the diplomats and the musicians and the dancers and the comedians and the social justice and everybody in this great chorus, as you beautifully outlined, from weekend to weekend. And we've learned so much from doing World Unity Week together over the last 2 years. We're ready to deliver on this. Thank you, Dot.
Yeah. Yes, and this will overlap with We the World, 11 Days of Global Unity, and everything else, the UN High-Level Forum on the Culture of Peace. We could have named 1,000 things.
Yeah.
It's the spirit of peace. And Ben, thank you for calling us together in a way that has not happened on this planet as yet. It's our moment.
Oh, well, it's very exciting and very true. We can feel the truth of that in our very bones, Dot. And
yes,
you know what's great about it is 90% of it is already happening. It's just a matter of connecting it and doing what John's doing, what Jude Caravan is teaching, what Kurt is doing, what you are doing. Is all of this linking. What Marty, everybody is connecting up. What Jonathan Granoff is calling forth, and the evolutionary leaders, etc., etc., etc. And it's all coming together in this time.
It is. Yeah. Thank you, Ben. And just the final thing I would like to say is whoever is participating in this and listening to this and feeling that tug of your own heart, everyone, our families, our friends, those we work with, everybody has a longing for a better world. I mean, come on, we can do this. We can light a fiery heart love that will change the world.
Amen. And for everybody, Dot, who wants to be connected to this, who's got an inspiration or an offering, that link is in the chat, both on social media and here in the Zoom room, where you can go and register your interest in all these things. And we're going to be following up and making sure that we coordinate cohesively between now and then. So it's exciting. And as John always says, we're looking for leadership. We're looking for leaders. This is not a hierarchical thing. This is we're all serving the emergence of something together, and we're looking people to step into their leadership or their initiative and ideas and gifts and offerings to the world, so as we can all come together and do this. Beautiful.
Shared leadership on behalf of the common good.
All right. Thank you, Dot Maeva. Okay, moving on to someone else who's also been deeply touched by Avon Madison, and somebody who's got a career in peacemaking and peace building, including the emergence of the One Planet Peace Forum in 2020 and 2021. A beautiful convening, co-sponsored by the United Religions Initiative, and working with many of the great peace builders on the planet is Bob Atkinson. So Bob, welcome to the Unity Earth Symposium and to this launch of Peace Week 2022. Tell us what's inspiring you.
Thanks so much, Ben, for your bringing this vision of Peace Week 2022 into being. And Dot, and Jonathan, and John, everybody, this is so exciting to be part of. One Planet Peace Forum is definitely looking forward to being part of it. And I'll say a little bit more about that in a minute, but I wanted to start off by mentioning what I hope will be something that will inspire us all to continue the work we're doing, and that will give us hope to do more of the work we're doing. And that is that peace already exists in the spiritual realm. Our work is to manifest it here in the physical realm. And that's exactly where Avon's point about peace through unity comes in. It's going to involve a lot of work, as everyone is saying, so many areas, so many, the 17 SDGs and more that all have to be brought into this process. One of the ways I look at it is a twofold process that is both personal and global, and individual and collective at the same time. And both of those levels are about the evolution of consciousness. And I just want to mention in regard to that we have two really perfect chapters in the Evolutionary Leaders book, Our Moment of Choice, that express both parts of this twofold process. So in Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith's chapter, he says, peace is a quality within us, and that world peace is dependent upon tapping into that part of our brain which is loving by nature, what he calls peace consciousness. He sees a new paradigm emerging on an increasingly global scale, with wholeness at its center. And in another chapter in Our Moment of Choice, James O'Day looks at the collective part of the twofold process, and he says, the long and convulsive collective evolutionary process in which peace will be its culmination is well on its way, with a blossoming of citizen activism to go along with our increasing awareness of our interdependence. And the desire to build a culture of peace comes from a whole systems perspective, which sees all things as interconnected and influencing each other. And that's really what we've all been talking about, is how all of these aspects of the whole are so interrelated, interconnected, that we can't work on one without working on all of them. And so we're really looking forward to the planning our part of Peace Week 2022, which will be Saturday, the final day. And that is one of the work that's in the very early stages of being planned at this point for that final Saturday of Peace Week and One Planet Peace Forum. But before I go through that, I did want to mention too that I personally was really so inspired by Avon especially we had been communicating by email for quite a while from the very first One Planet Peace Forum all the way to the after the second one. And it was the day after the first part of the planning for Peace Week 2022 had started with Ben and a couple of others, that I got an email from Avon, really super encouraging for having One Planet Peace Forum be part of that. And so I'm, and she ended her email with congratulations again, Bob, on a extraordinary and inspiring OPPF. So I just wanted to mention also that One Planet Peace Forum 2022 is being dedicated to Avon, to her legacy, to carry her work on. And in that spirit, we're planning for a program that is being called, that has a theme, Interspiritual Visions of a Peaceful Future. And a few of the people on our short list for inviting for that program include Cynthia Bourgeau, Reverend Michael Beckwith, Huda Mahmoudi, who is a peace chair at the University of Maryland, Valerie Kaur, Connie Buffalo, Sister Jenna, Rami Shapiro, and on and on. So we're really excited about being able to be the have the One Planet Peace Forum be on the closing day. And did I mention that Julie Kroll will be our moderator again? Yes, she will. So great, great to be part of this, and a lot of great planning to come. Thank you.
Julie, do you want to say a few words just as for this auspicious moment? You can unmute now.
There we go. Sure, thanks. Thanks, Bob, for that shout out. Thanks, Ben, for pulling me in. And if you haven't participated in the One Planet Peace Forum, the committee brings together just so many amazing voices. And one of the special things is always bringing in the youth, as well as these incredible peace workers on the planet doing so many amazing things. So it is a beautiful time. This will be a new format for us. I'm excited for that. And just, I just want to just present such great appreciation and gratitude for all of these voices today who are really kind of underlying the compelling message that our inherent unity is all there is. And our little trip down this illusion of separation really, in my opinion, has been purposeful. It's been a purposeful initiation and invitation to co-create with this evolutionary impulse. So such a blessing to be here in witness of all of these incredible voices, and the voice of evolution herself calling us forward to create this culture of peace. Thanks, Ben.
All right, very good. Thank you so much, Julie. Thank you, Bob. We're excited about the One Planet Peace Forum 2022, and going back to Avon Madison's encouragement and inspiration, and we're excited about Peace Week 2022 and how we can all show up together, everybody doing their thing, and how it all hangs together and comes together and is held in a unified field, and is presented in a highly visible, unified way. It's ours to do, and we're ready to do it. Just if anybody is wanting to connect with this, we need to become the collaboration we want to see in the world. We need to be the synergy we want to see in the world. So if you just go to unity.earth at the moment, it's easy to find. Just go to unity.earth where the symposium is live streaming. Click on details, sorry about that. And then click on details and go down the page, and you'll be there at the form. And at the forum, you can put in your details. You can stay connected to many of the things we've heard about here at the symposium, and we will follow up and you'll be connected. There's different ways to engage, different ways in. There are many ways into this great hall together, the Hall of Unity and Peace. So please do make sure that you follow through and connect what you're interested in following up with so that we can be in touch with you and go forward from there. All right, we're going to go soon into breakouts, but before we do, I wanted to bring in someone very special. Again, the question was raised yesterday. How are we going to break through? How are we going to reach more people? How are we going to get more youth? How are we going to get more intercultural? How are we going to bring the planet along with us on this journey? It's a great challenge. What a tremendous challenge. And someone who I know was really, really inspired by the video we watched a little bit earlier of Avon is Adil Kassam from Unify. So, brother, I just wanted to bring you in here for a few minutes just to share with us a little bit your reflections on what we've experienced so far. And also, you know, we're looking to you, Adil, for being a part of the solution of how we break through into the millions and the tens of millions and the hundreds of millions that are right there ready to come along on this great journey of into unity and towards peace.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you, Ben, and thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. The field of unity, as you stated earlier, is the peace that we're looking for. That peace in a family of harmony, right? And even if we don't have the words to explain it, you know, all of humanity wants that. If you were able to poll, you know, I don't know if you've ever done this, but if you get a chance, ask anybody you know. If you could have one prayer answered, knowing that everybody else on the planet was being asked the same prayer, and the degree to which it was similar, it would come to pass, what would be your prayer for the world? And almost everybody I've ever asked, it says world peace, obviously, world peace. A homeless, beautiful gentleman once said global enlightenment, but you know, they're related, right? And so peace, you know, how does world peace happen? Now we've set a trajectory, you know, never underestimate what you can do in a 10-year trajectory, right? Like it's entirely possible with this family and the actualization of everything that's happening, and the, you know, the prayers that are being held, and the you know, the contributions to the peace and social justice movement, and all these hopeful, inspirational organizations, projects, leaders, movements that are all unifying, all uniting for this greater good. So the progression that we got to see is sort of from a peace day, you know, to a kind of a recognized, almost like a recognized, observed holiday that's still in sort of progress, but it's still on this one day, to this peace weekend, right? Now to this peace week, an entire week of activity, and it kind of and we still don't lose peace day in that, but now we've got a container for this very special time, this very special moment. So what we're tracking is and putting together is basically, you know, with John Raymer and with some of the other groups, basically every major global meditation group, every major global prayer group, every interfaith organization, every spiritual organization, every religious organization, every single expression of peace on the planet. Could we organize all of those into like those who love, you know, a syndicate of peace, right? Those who love peace must learn to organize effectively as those who love war, into like a planetary peacekeepers alliance, or if you could think of it like almost like an inner peace corps. And so we're kind of create the kind of media happenings and PR happenings in such a way that that invitation becomes something real and living to contribute to this entire movement. And our prayer is that that we can catalyze an ongoing prayer and meditation vigil, like an hour to hour, held every hour by another organization, held every hour by another monastery, by another ashram, by another spiritual movement, you know, even by an individual, you know, like every hour on the hour held. So the unified field held and stewarded and contributed to. And of course, something like that could never happen without, you know, where we're at in society today, like the internet. How could we do that now, you know? And without obviously the core kernel of the Planetary Peacekeepers Alliance, which is us. It's us here that are the great believers that world peace is possible. And, reframing, that possibility for people, creating a plan and a trajectory and deliverable schedules and milestones and ways for people to engage and interact. And I applaud each of you. Ben, this happens to you a lot, I know, but honestly, hats off to you for your level of leadership and for you creating the conditions and the containers for people to have a way to engage, and just the heart of inclusivity. It's you can feel it when it's love, right? You can feel it when it's love, and that's what's disarming, and you can surrender to that love because that love is greater than just a human emotion, isn't it? It's perhaps even the field of God. So I think everybody here would probably say that if you ask, why are you here, in your private moments, it's because we feel the love, because we feel the unity, we feel the truth of what's emerging, and we feel this peace perhaps that surpasseth all understanding, together, just being together in uniting and loving each other. So it's as simple as expanding this circle, isn't it? It's as simple as creating an invitation for the rest for this family to become the global family, right? And for everyone's contributions to be received, for them to be sequenced, to be shared. Each of us has a very sacred piece of this puzzle. So we like Ben, just on behalf of our organization, and we're all in for all life, all in for World Unity Week, all in for Peace Week, and all in to serve and support all of you with all of your gifts. We want to shine the light on the solutionaries. Who knows, let's say we're the initiated, we're here, we're in love, right? But let's say, my sister's friend in Wisconsin jumps on. Who knows what of the peace movement she would fall in love with, what doorway she would enter into this sacred universal temple of peace, right? And each door will lead to the center of centers. Each door, each corridor leads to the grand chamber and by that time, it doesn't matter, you forget about the doorway that you entered or what interested you. You're there caught in the majesty and the magic of the family of unity, which is, hats off to each one of you. Imagine if it was one or two or three of us having this wonderful conversation on Zoom, as opposed to all of us being like, wow, this is actually happening and it's happening now. Wow, like I can trust this. This is going to go down. This is going to go down. Wow, giddy up. So yeah, I just feel so, I don't know, thrilled, passionate, and grateful, like honored. I guess the word is honored, and also in awe a little, right? Like wow. It's could it be that all the conditions in the world where all the constriction we've kind of been through is perhaps to go through the eye of this needle and enter this this great challenge, perhaps is the field of this great transformation. So here we are. Maybe God works in mysterious ways and perfect readiness for this, and this is literally the call in the hearts of all of mankind, no matter what language they're speaking, no matter whether they're aware of this movement or not. It's literally their call. So now we get the opportunity to gently introduce it to every single person we know. And so giddy up. This year we're planning to engage, hopefully kind of cross the threshold from just our own choir into the social media choir, into the Conscious Pages choir, into PR, into TV, into the New York Times, should be carrying this, right? And if we start early enough and craft the narrative enough, and they feel the heart of this movement, that's happening. So yeah.
Shout out. Thank you, Adil. Beautiful. Lots of loving reflections for your, beauty and wisdom expressed here. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. You're such an important part of what we have done, where we are and where we're going together and collectively. So it's all in for all life. And it's beautiful. I think that.
Oh, that is so beautiful, Adil. There you're doing it, putting it into action. That offer, the generosity of spirit, like Emmanuel was talking about, starting there. But then the idea that you said, that I think I came to the same realization, is that everyone else will show up if we just take care of each other. Yeah. It starts right here, how we care for ourselves and each other. The way we walk that path is what will make it visible. And that's what all I'm betting on. And it's so beautifully said. I think that's such a powerful idea. Just let's live it. Let's be it, make it real and manifest. It's so great to have you here. You know, each of you are charging my spiritual battery. It's like a little spark.
By the way, John, talking of supporting each other, Adil mentioned the New York Times. And there is an extraordinary article today.
Hey, that's right.
Dear friends at EcoPeace who hosted us for the Holy Land Living Water, and their work of the Blue Green Deal, which is bringing together Jordan, Israel, and Palestine for environmental and economic cooperation. They're getting solar panels in Jordan to help feed energy to Israel, and Israel is building a water treatment to bring water to a parched Jordan. It's based upon what happened after World War II, which was the steel and gas kind of diplomacy for peace. This is environmental and economic brilliance, and they just presented days ago to the UN Security Council, Jonathan Granoff, and they are very, very rare for a civil society organization to present to the UN Security Council, as you well know. This was the second time that they presented, Gidon Bromberg and Nada, the Palestinian director, and they presented, and there's an amazing article in the New York Times about their work. EcoPeace, the Blue Green Deal, it's absolutely stunning. Talk about practicality. And I know Jonathan wanted to respond a little bit to you, Adil, because spirituality and practicality are two wings of the bird, right? And I know Jonathan wanted to respond a little bit to that, and we just have a couple of minutes left, Jonathan, for that response.
Brothers and sisters, the energy that we bring is the realization of human unity, which is based on the formless power of love. But there's a rare opportunity now because of the pandemic and because of climate and because of the extraordinary explosion of military expenditures. I mean, the US military budget increased by over 5% from the Trump budget with a president who wants to do what we want to do, but we're not making him. So we have an opportunity to utilize a concept that the nations of the world have endorsed in the General Assembly. Human security is not my idea. Other people would call, Jerry Brown wants to call it planetary realism. Wonderful, Jerry. It's a good term, but that's not what the nations of the world have agreed upon. There is a funded human security program in the UN. They reached out to us and said, we need to mainstream this idea. I said to them, I know a constituency. I know a couple 100 million people on the planet whose hearts get this, whose hearts really have love and care, but they're siloed, just like the Sustainable Development Goals are siloed. And people are rowing in the same direction, but we're not in rhythm. So this is a catalytic idea to bring the sentiment of human unity, or divine, which is divine unity actually, but to bring it into action. And I urge that that be a central theme that we incorporate in as a tool, because presently the organizational structures of political dialogue are not centered on humans. They're centered on states. And that is the core dilemma, is that we forgot the why. The why is to take care of people. That's what states are really for. And it's not people that are making these weapons, as Adil pointed out. The people want peace, but they don't see a vehicle to get beyond the silos. Now, there's going to always be people who want to stay in the prison of racism, gender inequity, and various forms of oppression, because they're living with hearts that are oppressed. But God, we know just from what the kind of thing that Ben has done and what you do, Adil, and what John does, and what Avon did, and I've been very involved in the UN Days of Peace, because I helped create the Messenger of Peace program. I nominated Jane Goodall and Michael Douglas. I've been involved in it, and it has not scaled yet. It hasn't scaled. It hasn't got the traction. And this is the year, with the help of this community, which has spirit and blessing, to scale it. And it has, but it can't just be, we want it so bad, we want it so bad, we want it so bad. No, It has to be, this is how you get there. You get there by changing from preparing for war to preparing for peace. And human security is the term they've used. And that's why I wanted to jump in, because there's such a call for it now. All of us, our hearts are hearing the call of the earth. And we're saying yes. And we've got to find methods, and it's kind of intellectual. It's not the same as the great mantra. It's kind of intellectual, but that's part of our skills, just like our bodies. And that's the concept that can do it.
Jonathan, for us, could you, for us that aren't initiated, I'm speaking for me in particular, could you help define human security from the UN articles, from their perspective? If you were
absolutely, yes, it is essentially it is security in people's daily lives and protecting their inherent dignity. And everything flows from that. And there's a bunch of General Assembly resolutions breaking it out into all of the categories: food security, health security, rule of law, justice. It's all of the things that common sense people want, that states can't provide today, because the things that are causing the transformation transcend the state. We know in our hearts how the world is one. But in the manifestation of the world, the climate is saying, wait a minute, the way in which you're feeding and clothing yourselves and moving your bodies, we're not going to put it up anymore. Look, the tundra in Russia is on fire right now because of how we live. So, and that soot is going to go all over the world. We know that the world is one. So we need some concepts for our governance institutions to deal with that reality. And that changes to see, just like the virus has seen, the human family is all the same all over. And we need to see policies that are focused on meeting the needs of all the people. Because I know, Adil, when you say we, you mean everybody. But I think you actually mean it more like Jane Goodall means it. It also includes the ants, the worms, the wolves, the coyotes, the birds. It means everything alive, because that's the doorway to one.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, brother Adil. Thank you, Jonathan Granoff. This is a conversation that's going to get even deeper as we go forward, and even more structurally important. The language that we use, Adil asking for clarity on, what do you mean by human security? What does the UN mean on that? I know Patricia Ann Davis, John, has got some great teaching about the importance of words. It clarifies and distinguishes, and it's really important for us to get really clear, and also to acknowledge we're having this conversation in one language. How are we going to really be able to talk about unity and peace until we become deeply multilingual? So we're walking, we're making the path by walking. It's a big challenge, and we're about it, and we're all about it in our own way and our own calling. And the most important thing we're doing here is showing up together and listening deeply to each other. So thank you, Brother Jonathan, John Raymer, Adil, and we have more to share. Anna Marie Vahova from the global from the Hague Center of Global Governance. Let me co-host you, and let's hear from you, Anna Marie.
Yes, thank you very much, all of you, very inspiring. And I have a question for you, Jonathan. And I will connect on Weaver, and we will see how we could go further. But I was just wondering, in our co-creativity that we have here, isn't it about also finding a new role for those industries that are now so dependent on the war? Can we here, as we are? So what I've always learned from the systemic constellation work that we do, that it's no use to push anybody out. It's about finding our rightful place. And it's about finding our first next step in which we can go into whatever transformation we want to go to. So what would be a way to figure out how everything that those industries that are really thriving with war, and with the separation, they have such amazing capacities for that. How can we twist that, switch that around so that it can serve everything? So that we can offer a perspective and not only say you're bad, or we don't want you in, or we want you out, but that we can say, hey, here's an invitation. Join us in another way. Join us as a father, as a mother. Join us as a child that has parents, and join us and see how you can then take care of yourself, but while you're doing that, also take care of others. I am so longing for us to find out what that answer would really be, because I think that might be a crack where light can come in. And then we can bring, if we have a kind of vision of that, then we can radiate so much light through that small crack that we might be able to touch a few crucial people that can help us transform. Do you have any ideas already for that? And who would be willing to really, go into that kind of first, perhaps silence, connect to the wisdom, ask Avon and all the others to join us in and find that twist of the Mobius strip.
What country are you in?
In the Netherlands.
The Netherlands. Well, it's interesting. Johannes Witterveen, who was your minister of the Exchequer, and Bert Koenders now, and recently, who was your foreign minister, are very much, Witterveen passed away. He was the minister of your treasury. There, in your country, you actually have parliamentarians like Bert Koenders who are committed to that. And there's an organization called Parliamentarians for Nuclear Non-Proliferation and Disarmament, totally devoted to this. It's a program of the Global Security Institute. And we have about 800 parliamentarians in 80 countries. Senator Ed Markey has a bill in the Senate of the United States exactly on that, to take a percentage of the military budget in order to address the pandemic specifically. And he's calling it the human security, steps for human security. So each country will have a different approach. But the your sentiment has traction, but it hasn't had the political force of the people's voice. So Article 26 in the United Nations Charter, it's not a resolution, so it can't be vetoed. Article 26 in the Charter actually says that the Security Council shall, not may, but shall convene the military staff committees of the major countries to actually work together to come up with a plan to reduce military expenditures to free up resources for social development. That's actually in the Charter. So one thing you could definitely do, is because the Netherlands actually has very, very smart diplomats, right by the train station in Das Haag, in The Hague. Get them to push that portion of the UN Charter, because no one has done it since Oscar Arias, who actually brought enormous work for peace in Central America, stopped a civil war. So the mechanisms are there, and there are organizations specifically focused on it. The organization I'm a president of is one of them. But in your country, you actually have political figures who agree with you. What's his name? Harry Potter, the former prime minister. Banachie, yeah. He's another person who gets it. I met with him, and so in the Netherlands, you're a great country to push that issue. You have people in the government, in the foreign ministry, who will resonate with that. So use your agency, use your moral agency. Don't wait for Klingendahl.
Okay. No, I won't wait for Klingendahl. No, I'll get back to you, because I think I need a little bit of a little thing else.
Absolutely. But my email is my name, my name at Gmail.
No, we do it through Weaver, Jonathan, because that's the promise that we make.
You're there, Jonathan.
No, it's okay. Don't worry. We'll get to you. Thank you for, and whoever wants to join, we'll put the project up on Weaver and we'll play this game too. And Adil, you'll be spreading it out with us in the light.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna Marie. Thank you, Jonathan. I want to have one more sharing, and then we want to have a prayer just to hold space for a number of different things. But I want to bring in Nina Meyerhoff from One Humanity Institute. Nina is a lifelong peacemaker, peace builder, activist working on the front lines. One Humanity Institute has been doing extraordinary work near Auschwitz with the Museum for Peace. And Nina shared with me recently part of her whole bio, which is absolutely stunning and extraordinary and amazing. And Nina, it's wonderful to have you with us in the Unity Earth Symposium. What's alive for you, and what would you like to share with us today?
Hello. First of all, hi, Anna Marie. Hi, Jonathan. And you know, when I watched with Avon and the photos, so many memories went through me. But just to tell you how I began on this path, I had a dream because I saw in the photos there was Robert Mueller. I had a dream, and Robert Mueller came to me and he floated above me and he said, now you're ready to go to the UN. And the next day I got a call to go to the UN, and who did I meet but Avon? And we started to work together and go around the world, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, it was, you know, like, okay, head on out, let's go for it. So beautiful. And then I saw the photo of, and I don't know if you can see him, Lama Ganchen, our beloved Lama. He died last year of COVID. Yes, yeah. So for you that don't know, but of course, many of you knew him, and it was very unusual to have a Lama come to NGO meetings. And over the years, I went and did every International Day of Peace that's occurred, and I brought young people from all around the world to the UN. And then I brought in refugee kids for many years to attend and to present there. And my feelings are, and I think it's really important to understand that each generation is able to touch into consciousness in a greater degree than the prior one. And these young people, they need safe space. So we need to hold them up, support them, and allow them to begin to have the understanding that they can bring new systems alive, that they no longer imitate anything that's come before, but that they are being given permission now to move forward and to really design this great awakening. And so, yes, we are committed to that. And I was with Dot in my living room, and we were talking about peace, 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 and how to concretize it. So I was following months in Auschwitz, and it dawned on me, this was the worst, horrific, systematic murder of human beings for the Western world. And it's been established as a reality. You go through gas chambers, you see everything as it was. Well, what would transform that into a solutionarium? What would be the counter expression but one humanity, that we all understand that we haven't been born to a nation first, where human beings born into a family, and then the family expands into the family of humankind. And there are over 2.5 million visitors to Auschwitz annually. So imagine if 10%, 15% of those people that are not converted to our ways were to come and have conversations with all of us, and that we established an NGO world court where all of us could hold meetings, etc. We've already inherited is too strong a word, but we've received in receivership of 2 houses in the town of Auschwitz. So our programs are centered around young people and the town of Auschwitz. And with those young people, we reach out to young people all around the world. I was on a call last week with over 400, 500 young people who are looking at redesigning education so it serves them in their growth. So we're going to continue that work for the International Day of Peace, peace work, etc., supporting helping young people and having a voice that's critical for a planet that works for all. Thank you. Bye-bye. My pleasure. Yeah.
Powerhouse presentation. Thank you so much, Nina. Great to see your radiant beauty and all the beautiful work that you're doing. And One Humanity Institute, you and Doman, and have been such an important part of the Caravan of Unity of Europe, as well as the Peace Week celebrations and World Unity Week. And the list this year, let's go even deeper. Let's do even more to elevate the work that you're doing there with One Humanity Institute. And thank you for sharing that beautiful, profound inspiration from your journey and your entrepreneurialism and creation, that you imagined this and now you're putting it into being in a place like Auschwitz is so profound. So thank you for being with us, Nina, and we hope to be with you very, very soon. Friends, I did just want to just briefly show, sorry, as I navigate through my windows here, I wanted to show this New York Times article, which has come out from Thomas Friedman, no less. The title is, it might put you off a little bit, but the title is That Did We Miss Biden's Most Important Remark About Russia? It's a long opinion piece from Thomas Friedman, who's covered EcoPeace multiple times. But as you go down into it, you'll get into the essence of the blue-green deal from EcoPeace, from our friends at EcoPeace. So it's a really important article. The work that EcoPeace have been doing for over 25 years, I think it's 27 years now, is absolutely stunning. And the green-blue deal is a big deal. And bringing together the Jordanian, Israel, as well as United Arab Emirates, where our friend the Green Sheikh is also an incredible peace leader, and of course the Palestinian aspect as well. So much in there. Good things are happening. It's not easy. It's hard work. What Gidon and his team are doing, what Avon did to break through, what Jonathan is doing, what everyone is doing. It takes extraordinary commitment and effort. It doesn't just happen. So shout out to our friends at EcoPeace. And we're going to ask Reverend Joni Carley at this point to come in and just to take us into a reflective space. So once again, January 26 has been selected by Pope Francis as a day of prayer for Ukraine, but also in Ukraine representing, I think as Anna Marie was asking those deep questions of how can we repurpose the military-industrial complex. That is a very profound question at the heart of everything that we're doing in this work together. So I'd love to welcome up Reverend Joni Carley just to take a moment. We have launched the Unity and Peace Synergy Circle of the Evolutionary Leaders. We've reflected on Avon Madison's life and legacy. We're looking ahead to Peace Week 22. We've seen all the beautiful offerings that Jonathan is offering, and John Raymer, and Tales of Synergy from the Magic Canoe. I mean, it is a very rich, powerful field that's here. And yet we know we're gathering at a time, Joni, of great challenge and trauma. And so holding all of that together, perhaps we can take a moment to pray together.
Let's all just take a breath first. Just bask and marinate in this love and potential and understanding of the reality that we are co-creating. Just let it permeate you. This is so real, so right. We call on the one love, the one light, the one spark of spirit, God, Allah, the divine mother, that which cannot be named. We call on the primordial light pulse that fuels the flame of our souls. We call forward the indwelling divinity that pulses through our blood and dances as our souls. We call on the creator within the creation, because we know that the spirit that pulses in us always leads to love. And so we join hands and leap further into love today as we walk forward together toward Peace Week and World Unity Week. We stand today for all the generations who have been longing and hoping for a just and verdant world. We stand for future generations to live in the peaceful and plentiful promised land of unity that Dr. King so boldly put forward. We stand in our unity this moment, knowing our unity right now. Not a unity that has to be achieved, not a unity that has to be fought for or sought after, a unity that is just what's so. In this moment, we stand awakened to the reality of our unity, aware that our delusions of separation are falling away and falling away. As we stand for the promised land, the land where all our relations are well and happy, where all our children go to bed safe, fed, and warm. A land where people's spirits are free and nourished. A land where we no longer have to seek our unity because we know our unity as the natural law that it is. A land where unity is the recognized norm and separation is understood as a call for healing. We know that the map to the promised land reveals itself as we come together in these sacred circles. And as we move between worlds to unveil the map to the promised land, we know that our co-creativity is our means of travel to the promised land. And so we bless all of our co-creative urges and expressions as we go forward. We come together to raise up the vision of the world that we want to consciously cause and to raise up the service it takes to cause visions to manifest. We come together knowing that now is a time of glorious opportunity, a time like no other, because our interdependence is supported by an interconnectedness we have never known before this moment in time. And so now we say a big, bold, and bodacious yes to a new dimension of love. We stand fully aligned with the bigness, the boldness, and the bodaciousness of our vision of an ever more compassionate, just, joyful, and loving world. We give thanks for this historic moment of unprecedented possibilities. We give thanks for all the generations of love warriors who forged the path for us to be right here, right now. And we give thanks that the light of love has called us together in this circle at this time to witness the glory of the promised land and to forge new pathways and to renew timeless pathways toward a world that works for everybody. We give thanks that we come together to commit a sacred union and to create sacred action as we walk the path ahead with arms and hearts and souls linked as one. We release this prayer knowing that the divine spark in each of us always leads us to greater realization of our unity, knowing that we magnify each other's light on the path to one unified world. So it is, blessed be, amen, and may peace prevail on earth.